So, the report before us presents the draft General Fund Budget for 2016-17 to Cabinet and proposes some further savings that have been discussed with Cabinet members, portfolio holders, which are required to help ensure a balanced budget is achieved. Section 3 sets out the draft budget to date, which has been prepared based on estimates prior to the spending review being announced on the 25th of November. The table at section 3.15 sets out the forecast deficit for 2016-17 of 960,000 after known changes and savings have been taken into account. Section 3.16 then proposes further savings, and some of these do have employee implications. These savings reduce the deficit to 557,000. Further savings or additional income will need to be identified to ensure a balanced and sustainable budget is set for 2016-17, and this figure is dependent on the outcome of the spending review. No increase in fees and charges or council tax have been included, and it is not yet known whether there will be a council tax freeze grant available for 2016-17. The recommendations are shown at section 2, and Cabinet will be kept informed of any developments following the spending review announcement. I just want to add that again these are figures produced by professional experts in finance. They are figures that are produced without yet knowing what the Chancellor will actually finally say, and we shall continue to work with officers and Cabinet members to look for savings that can be brought back at the earliest opportunity in December if need be, so that we can be well aware, ready for February. But at the moment we don't know when the Chancellor's statement will be made. Councillor Condoka.
Thank you, Chair. It's appalling that these papers have come out so late, only coming out on Monday for the main report, and this afternoon for the appendix, which outlines some of the spending pressures. We need to actually have proper debate, both with staff, with the public and with councillors about these cuts, and not push them through with 2 days' notice and a not for calling paper. There are many serious aspects of these cuts and many weaknesses of the council that are only going to be made worse by the way the cuts are being done. I'm particularly concerned about our senior managers getting flexible retirement, so they actually work less hours when we have so many pressures, rather than being fully retired or fully committed to the council. These flexible retirement packages cost us a lot of money, and we should be looking at our management structure in the long term and not just gradually tweaking people to work 4 days a week. I'm also very concerned about the spending pressures which came in the appendix today. Civic Hall overspending another 33,000 the expectation. It actually cost 600,000 to run the Civic Hall, not 35,000 as it is in the report here. Very concerned about recycling overspending and the £69,000 reduced income from the market before today's fiasco on the market. The market is dying due to this council. We're going to lose the co-op. We're getting into serious financial difficulties with balancing our town centre, and I think we need new leadership. We can't just keep on saying we haven't got a problem. 18% of our shops are empty, we're losing market income, and actually things are going down the pan. And we actually need some leadership here. We actually need to look after the market, not trash it because you don't provide stalls. We actually need to invest in our town centres, and I notice from the spending cuts, we're losing business investment team members, we're cutting litter enforcement, all the things we need to actually be a prosperous and clean and attractive town is getting hit by these cuts. And the one golden cow, the Civic Hall, is totally unaffected by these cuts. Yet we actually need a proper debate on where we're going and not just trimming. Thank you, Chair.
Any questions? No. Michelle Condoka.
Thank you. Well, obviously we are in very difficult times, and it is difficult when the government keeps chopping and changing and cutting your bits. But just having looked, and as Keith already mentioned, only getting the papers so late hasn't really given me much chance to have a look through. I did actually go on the website last week to look at the cabinet papers, only to find half of it wasn't there. There needs to be, from what I can see, a much more holistic approach, maximising income rather than just minimising expenditure. And one of the things Keith already mentioned is litter. And we've spoken about it umpteen times before, but you can actually get more money coming in and hence not have to reduce the staff by actually using the staff to find people and actually get money in. And in the long run, that would lead to savings, because once people know that they are likely to get fined if they're caught dropping litter, it will actually reduce and there'll be a lot less cost than that. Again, markets need to be encouraged every step of the way. They bring people into the town, the businesses benefit, therefore you get more business rates. So, yeah, it's a holistic approach. There's mention about improved income from car parks. If markets and things get cancelled, people just will not come into town. And the market stall numbers are reducing. I asked a question at full council in July 2013, and the figures I was given for January to June 2012 and then January to June 2013 showed a considerable drop even then, even counting for the ones that have been lost from the weather. We did get Market of the Year in 2009, but that was 2009, and you can't just keep saying, oh yes, we've got an award-winning market, because that was quite a few years ago, and it would not win anything now, unfortunately. I'd love it to get back to what it was. The other thing is, there was mention in there about restructure of IT and communications team. Just when a lot of new technology is being brought in for agile working, it is a concern that there won't necessarily be enough backup for getting that introduced efficiently, and so everyone knows what they're doing. Thank you.
Any questions? No, thank you. Well, I shall start by saying that I shall totally ignore personal abuse. The council should be about working through the policies of the council, and not about people deciding who will be the leader of the Labour group, who is in controlling this council and who will not be. And I shall continue to ignore it as I ignore it on the so-called social media. However, I find it extremely offensive that a councillor can come to a meeting of the council and just engage in personal abuse instead of constructive thought. But I have to say that we've worked very hard with officers in trying to look at what we are doing. This is of no fault of ours that our budget has been already slashed, and the income from the government being already down by 40%. We are next year facing a massive gap again. Many other surrounding councils have made dramatic cuts in staffing and in services. And whilst we have lost some staff over the period of the last 5 years, we've kept those to a limited amount, and I guess we are well below the average, well below. We've also kept charges well below the average level of charges, and we've kept council tax steady, even though we only take 13% of the council tax. So, just as I'm not responsible for it raining outside, I'm equally not responsible for the way the government has run the economy and damaged town centres. We have done extremely well in this borough. It is extremely difficult some days to find a parking space in Nuneaton or Bedworth, and I did hear last Friday, it wasn't even a Saturday, that in the whole of Bedworth town centre, in free parking and in council parking, there were only 2 spaces.
I got one of them.
And we're going to have to look very seriously at whether we have enough spaces in Nuneaton, because the same happens in Nuneaton on a Saturday, where it is regular now to have to go to the roof of the multi-storey to be able to park your car. So the idea of these being ghost towns that nobody visits is complete utter rubbish, which does no good to the people who are trying to do well here and make a living and make the town successful. But we have looked very, very carefully at these matters. We shall bring more things forward in December, and we shall bring more things forward in February, because at the end of the day we shall do what we've always done. We shall obey the law and we shall balance the budget, and I think we've done extremely well. I believe that in fact there's a very good report from auditors going forward to the audit committee, so every confidence in our staff in the way that they have managed services. It is unfortunate we've lost we've had to lose some people, but we've kept those to a minimum. But having said that, I have to say that this council withstood the onslaught of Mrs. Thatcher. We withstood all the years of cuts, and Mr. Osborne is doing worse to us than even during those years. And we shall maintain a good service from this council. We shall maintain the maximum number of people we need to employ, but we are not going to risk not balancing the books. That is totally irresponsible. So this is our clear priority, is to balance the books. Any other member? Councillor Aldington.
Thank you, Chair. It's quite clear, isn't it, what the government's approach is to towns like ours, is to absolutely hammer the councils so that we are in such dire straits that we have to cut, which is obviously what we don't want to do. We've seen two reports here today. One of the comments on that first report was its unintended consequence. Well, I'm sorry, Chair, it's a very much an intended consequence of the government's policy on funding. That is having an effect, a massive effect, £200 million on the HRA, but it's also having a huge effect on our ability to balance those books, as you say. We've got £1 million we've got to save next year. Who knows what it will be in the future when we're talking about central government grants being cut completely and us having to rely on business rates. And of course, you know, places like Westminster, they're going to have a lot of business rates. Places like London and Bedworth, we're not going to have as many business rates. So I'm actually quite fearful, Chair, of what is going to come in the future. Unfortunately, we've got another 5 years of this, so we will continue, as you say, to balance those books and to look at everything, absolutely everything. And we will bring some of those forward, possibly before the budget in February.
Any other member? Have we agreed then with the recommendations that have been put and agreed to continue to work with officers to bring forward further savings to the November meeting, sorry, December meeting, and again at the February budget. Because this year, once we have this year out of the way, we've next year to face as well, which is even worse. 9, Councillor Pomfret.
I'm happy to say a few words on this. This is the quarterly review of the strategic performance report, which comes on a regular basis, Chair. In terms of section 4 on page 31, we've highlighted a number of trends there. I'm pleased to say that in relation to council tax collection, we are there or thereabouts with a profile range of collection, as we are with working days lost to sickness, absence. Nothing else to add to the report, Chair. There are no peaks and troughs to highlight. The ship is steady as she goes.
Councillor Condoc.
Thank you, Chair. Performance reports are really, really important. We had this issue with the budget of not being able to be involved in seeing how the money is spent. We have the same issue with performance reports. Members of the opposition groups need to be able to look at these performance reports, trust them, and actually ask difficult questions when things aren't going to plan. And I have zero confidence in what gets reported. If you look on page 38, it talks about the Vicarage Street and Abbey Street developments in the commentary on the strategic performance reports. They're down as amber. As far as I'm aware, the Vicarage Street project has died. It is a non-project. And the Abbey Street project is in flames with the closure of the co-op. So we have projects here, really big projects that are going really badly wrong, and they're only marked as amber. That gives me little confidence. We also have the technical data in all this performance stuff. And I actually did a survey, because I didn't believe we had 9% of the shops empty in the Neaton Town Centre. On the same basis that professional firms survey the shops, I measured it. 18.5% of units in the Neaton Town Centre are empty, closed, shuttered, with bankruptcy notices on the door, not open to customers. Twice the figure that we're reporting. Our performance data is not trustworthy, and we are actually saying things are going brilliantly when they clearly aren't. Abbey Street, Vickery Street, dead. Empty shops, about twice what you'll keep reporting. In glowing figures, we only have 9% empty. We're at about 18%. Thank you.
Well, could I ask you a question, Councillor? You mentioned two very serious words in relation to talking about other people, and you were talking about officers' reports. These are not my reports, these are officers' reports. And you said you had zero confidence, and you talked about you did not trust them. Do you not trust our officers?
I do not trust your officers because the numbers they measure do not match reality. I go round counting how many empty shops there are, 61. I get reports from officers saying they're 38, and they've counted over a wider area than me. I do not trust what is going on.
Thank you. You made it very plain. You said you didn't trust our officers. Thank you. Can I just make it very plain? Thank you, Councillor. From the Cabinet's point of view, that we do have full trust in our officers, we have full confidence in our officers, and we work well with them. And I want to make it very, very plain, as Leader of the Council and as the Cabinet, unanimously I'm sure, that we have full confidence and trust in our officers.
Absolutely.
Can I pass on then to Councillor Anderton?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to highlight the working days lost to sickness. At a time where workers in this country are being absolutely hammered left, right and centre, it's a testament, I think, to our workforce that are coming in, some doing the job previously done by 2 or 3 people, that they're actually still coming in and wanting to do a job for this council. And I think it's a testament to us as well, Chair, to be honest, about the way that we treated staff across this council. But I just wanted to highlight that because there's not a lot of places where sickness absence is going down. A lot of places sickness absence is on the increase because, as I say, workers are being absolutely hammered across the country.
Thank you. Councillor Pomfret.
Are we moving on to another item? And I didn't indicate to speak on the...
Oh, sorry, I thought you were Councillor Jackson.
Yes, I just wanted to say I was myself looking at the council's internal internet the other day, where performance information is very available to all elected members and is a useful insight. I do feel there are regular reports in regard to this, and it gives opportunities for councillors right across the council to be able to ask questions, to seek clarification, and indeed get some really very detailed information, which I certainly find very useful. I just make that point because I think IT in that regard serves the council well.
Yeah. I just want to say that statistics, down statistics, you know, if you go down one shop, one road, one street, there might be no shops empty, 100%. If you go down the street, there might be 4 or 5, 40% empty. You know, where you choose to measure is purely subjective. If you want to make as much noise as you want, you choose subjective opinion or stats that will bear your argument out. You know, this borough has loads of shops. We are not totally responsible for the capitalistic world that we live in, whereby landlords can't lease their shops and this council does everything it possibly can to lease its own properties. It's very, very hard for us to encourage businesses, private businesses, you know, who charge exorbitant rents to get them to come into the town centre. That's all I've got to say.
Well, can I just make a couple of points really about the, because again we've got this situation of knocking our towns as opposed to promoting them, which is what we should all be doing. But in fact, the council's figures they do not look at non-retail uses, whether at ground floor or above. They look at retail figures. So they do not include public houses, clubs, offices, property that's incapable of use, such as the fire damaged property in Abbey Street, and non-retail uses at first floor. Our figures also include properties that are on the edge of the ring road, such as the very successful places at Asda, which again has just expanded in providing a garage which I see as people queuing every minute of the day, and B&M and Sainsbury's and so on the edge. In Bedworth, I believe we have only one unit free at the moment that belongs to the council in Congreve Walk. It's been a success story with new properties moving in. We've had new people moving into Nuneaton in the last fortnight. There's a travel agent I haven't yet been into, brand new travel agent moved into, and these people should be encouraged because they've made the right choice to come to Nuneaton and Bedworth. You have only to look at the number of people here on a Saturday and try queuing to get into this town on a Saturday and even on a Friday into Bedworth. To knock the town is not what we want to do. We want to promote the town, to promote particularly our small traders who are trying to make a living, and promote our markets, and we should continue to do so. And the Cabinet, I would like to add to the recommendation, the Cabinet reaffirms its confidence in our officers and their provision of statistics.
Agreed.
Thank you.